I'm Jolene Wynn, and this is the Porn Addict's Wife podcast, episode number 156. I don't want to care more than he does. I used to think of myself as the wife of a porn addict, but I do not think of myself that way anymore, and you don't have to either. In this podcast, I am going to teach you how to manage your mind and your emotions so that you can stop living your life around your husband's pornography addiction. I am going to teach you how to stop being the victim and how to conquer his pornography addiction, even if he never does. I'm Jolene Wynn. I am a certified life coach, and I am a member of the LDS faith and the wife of a former porn addict. And this is a podcast for the Porn Addict's Wife. Hello, my ladies. How are you? I am in a great mood because I just finished a coaching call, and I'm always in a great mood when I finish a coaching call. I have so much energy. It just makes me so alive and so excited and thrilled to be doing the job that I do. And so I'm so excited to be talking to you guys today. I'm going to be talking to you guys about something that has come up over the last couple of coaching calls that I've had with my clients. And it's also been coming up for me personally. And so I wanted to bring it up on the coaching call. First, let's do the calendar, as we do, as per usual, as my sister says. And here is what is on the calendar. This month, I want to invite you guys to a free class that I am doing. On May 22nd at 11 a.m. Eastern, I am doing a free class called Finding Peace When Your Husband is Untrustworthy. You are all invited to this call. If your husband is struggling with porn, this call is for you, and it's totally free. You can come. I'm going to teach you how it's possible to start healing and moving forward, even if he is still doing stuff that makes you question whether or not you can even trust him. And that is something that is probably the number one area that my clients struggle with the most, and my podcast listeners, is trust. And that is why I wanted to talk to you guys about it on this call. You can go to my website, jolenewynn.com, go to the Coach Week tab, and on there you will see all the details for it, the link to sign up. Again, it's free. And if you can't make it live, I would encourage you to still sign up because you will be able to get access to the replay as long as you register. If you're not registered, then I can't send you the replay because I won't have your email address. But if you sign up, then I will be able to send it to you. So if you're curious about what it is and how to apply everything that you're learning on the podcast, or if you're curious about what coaching is like, because I will be doing live coaching, then I want to invite you to come. Or if you just want to hang out with me, then please come. You can just go to my website, jolenewynn.com, go to the Coach Week tab, and you will always be able to see the classes that I have on there. And that one, again, is on May 22nd at 11 a.m. Eastern. I also wanted to let you guys know that in this month, inside my coaching program, I am teaching a class called How to Not Hate Your Body. Body image is probably the second biggest area of struggle that my clients face. And I have a whole module on this in my online portal, in my online course that my clients get access to, but teaching live is so much better. And I have some concepts that I'm really excited to teach about this. So if you're struggling with body image, if you want help with this, then I want to encourage you, you can come get access to that when you join my coaching program. So that is what's going on. It's going to be taught live this month inside my coaching program. And I'm pretty sure that the dates for that haven't been quite nailed down yet. It's either going to be the second or third week of May that I teach that. So if you've been thinking about joining coaching and this feels like something you really want help on, then you can go ahead, you can sign up for the Lifetime Access coaching program, and you will get access to this live call. So keep that in mind. I will be sending out emails for that. So if you're on my list, you'll be getting information about that. And if you're not on my list, go get on it. When you get on the list, not only will you be able to keep in touch about what's happening next and when there's a free call and what I'm doing inside my program, if that resonates for you. But then you'll also be able to automatically, when you sign up for my email list, you will get sent my list of resources. This is something I get asked for all the time, which is why I've made it free for you guys. So this is a free PDF download. And what I do is in there, I have pages and pages of all of my industry resources, all of the colleagues that I have, all of my male coaches and therapists and online resources and apps and computer programs and all of these things that are available that I had no idea even existed, that I have curated over the last couple of years as I've been doing this, and I have it all listed out for you. So that is on there, as well as my top tips of what to do next. That is something I get asked a lot is, okay, so for the woman who either just found out about her husband or she's really struggling because her husband is still looking at porn, what's your best advice for her? It's all in there. Okay. So again, you can just go to my website, joleneWynn.com. You will see on that front page a little area, a place to sign up in order to get that free PDF. And you can sign up and you'll get that sent automatically to you. Okay. All right, ladies, let's dive into today's topic, because this is something that has been coming up not only for me, but also my clients. And it's kind of a continuation of last week's episode. So if you listen to last week's, I talked about retroactive pain, and this was something that came up for a client yesterday on a coaching call. She said, I feel like you were talking to me last week on the podcast episode, which I was a little bit. I was thinking about her and what she's going through. Then she said, I feel like I do this where I have something that I learned about, and it's kind of like I'm rewriting my past based off the pain that I'm currently experiencing. And I feel so stupid, which is what I was saying last week, right? In my retroactive pain episode, I talked about how the pain, the information that I have now in the present, when I apply it to my past, I feel stupid for how I felt at the time, right? At the time, I was fine. At the time, I was happy. At the time, I had no idea what was going on. And I feel stupid now looking back because I had no idea what was going on. Okay. Are you seeing the judgment? This is self-judgment. That stupidity, that like I feel stupid, is a judgment that I should have known better, right? It's this judgment on myself that I shouldn't have experienced something so positive when in fact there was something else going on that I didn't know. There's this judgment that I should have known, and I shouldn't have allowed myself to feel positive in the moment. You guys with me on that? Does that make sense? Now, the problem with this is that then we typically tend to continue it into our current relationship. We take that judgment of stupidity, we take that judgment of I should have known better, and we carry it into our present. And we want to avoid the same mistake. But what that typically looks like is saying things like, I don't want to be more invested than he is. I want to know that he cares as much about me as I do about him. I want to know that he loves me as much as I love him. I want to know that we're on the same page. And here's why our brain wants to think this. And so many of you think this, whatever version of it is that I always hear, right? I want to know that he's as invested in us as I am, right? We want to know that because our brain wants to know that we're on equal footing. And we do this with all of our relationships, right? Even if it's not your husband, think of like a friendship, right? You don't want to be that friend. You don't want to be too needy. Have you guys ever thought this? Well, like especially when you move, like I just moved to a new place. I don't know everybody yet. I haven't, established really long-term friendships yet. So I'm still trying to gauge what's like socially appropriate or what people prefer, right? Does this person prefer that I text them or that I call them? Because I don't want to annoy them. I don't want to be too needy. Is it okay if we invite them over for dinner, or should I just wait? Is that like too much, right? We don't want to be the person who's too invested because it's weird. We have all of this judgment on who the person is, on the person that's giving too much because it's weird and it's needy and it's graspy, and we don't want to be that person. Why don't we want to be that person? Here's why. I'll tell you, okay? Ready? So in any relationship, whether it's with your spouse or with somebody else in your life, we want to know that we're on equal playing fields, okay? We want to know that the amount of effort that we are giving is the exact same amount of effort that the other person is giving, okay? Why? Because if we think that we are investing more than the other person, then that is weakness. It's a vulnerability. We open ourselves up to getting hurt more. And that is what our brain wants to avoid. You guys with me on this? Here's what actually happens though. Here's the problem with this. This came up on a coaching call today with a different client. She said, I just want to know, sometimes I feel like my husband doesn't care about me as much as I care about him. And first of all, this is completely arbitrary. How on earth are you going to gauge how much a person cares? You won't ever be able to tell. Why? Because it's an emotion that you feel. You will never be able to tell whether or not your husband loves you as much as you love him. Why? Because that is an emotion that you feel. You feel love for him, and you cannot feel his emotions. You can only feel yours. So you are never going to be able to feel your emotion and his and then compare the two quantifiably. That is not a word. Okay? But whatever, you are never going to be able to quantify how much you love him versus he loves you. And your brain, when you have this kind of thought of I love him more than he loves me, your brain then goes to work on trying to gauge how it's going to do that. How are you going to judge whether or not he cares just as much about you as you do to him? How are you going to gauge how much he loves you versus how much you love him? And then your brain is trying to look, and all it can see is what its evidence. It tries to look with its senses, the senses that you have, your physical senses, in order to try to gain evidence, in order to quantify how much he loves you. Okay? And here's the problem. Is your brain, as long as you believe that you love him more, will always find him coming up short. Well, he doesn't love me as much as I love him because I'm not watching porn. And if he loved me more, then he would stop. So obviously I love him more than he loves me. Obviously I'm more invested in this relationship because I'm the one that's willing to go listen to this stupid podcast and to get therapy, and he doesn't even want to go. So that means that I'm more invested. Right? Your brain is going to find evidence to quantify how you're going to figure out who loves who more. And it's always going to have him come up short if you believe that you are the one who cares more, who loves more, who is more invested. And this is actually a really appealing thought to have. As uncomfortable as it is to sit there and acknowledge that you think that your husband doesn't love you as much as you love him, it's also really appealing to our pride. And I know this because I've thought it, okay? I did this for years. And I think I've shared this on the podcast. I had this thought that I love my husband more than he loves me, and I totally believed it. And I even made it something positive. I said, I believe I love him more than he loves me, and I feel like that is my privilege. And I made it something positive. Here's what I've noticed though. Over the last couple of months, as my husband and I have gone through more stuff and more stuff has come up for me, now it's a negative. Now that thought, I think it was a false positive, which I've talked about on the podcast before. There's actually an episode called False Positives. Go listen to it. This is me doing this, okay? I have a human brain and I make human errors all the time, okay? So I had this false positive that sounded really nice, but what it was kind of a hit to my pride. Like, I get to be the one in the relationship that's the one up. I'm the one that gets, and it's really just all internal. Like, there is no award for this. This is just me making this up in my head. I get this award because I'm the one that's more invested, and I'm the one that's putting in more, and I'm the one that gets to have the gold star of, like, at the end of days, we stand before God and he's like, all right, who loved who more? And I'm like, I totally won this award. That's what was appealing in my brain. And I'm recognizing over the last couple of months, as stuff has come up and we're starting to work through it, I have recognized that now it is a very negative thing. Okay? Because what is happening is my brain is saying, I love him more than he loves me. And it's just gathering more evidence to prove it. And the more evidence I have of how much more I love him, the bigger the gap in my brain between how much I love him and how much he loves me. And that gap is very hard to span because it means that I am more vulnerable. And the more vulnerable I feel, the less my brain wants to feel it. The more my brain wants to retreat. The more my brain wants to pull back and away from this relationship because my brain says, I'm not interested in continuing this. I don't want to be in a relationship where I'm the one putting in all the effort, where I'm the one doing all the work. And it has been a very humbling thing to take a look at that thought and to say, what if that's not true? What if it's actually true that he loves me just as much as I love him? What if it's true that he is doing just as much work as I am in this relationship, if not more? Because I have to give the guy credit. Do you know how hard it is to overcome anxiety and depression and a pornography addiction? I don't. I've never done any of those things. Are you with me, ladies? And the things that he's even working on now that have come up over the last couple of months, he is working his tail off so that we can have the relationship that we want, so that he can be the person he wants to be, the husband he wants to be. He is uncovering and working through all the stuff that comes up for you guys, ladies. He's working through that times 10, going through all the same subconscious crap, all the same subconscious beliefs that he has been believing for 35 years. It's coming up and he is looking at it and working on it, and it's not pretty for either one of us, and he's willing to do it. Why? Because he's choosing to. Okay, that is hard stuff, and I have to give him credit. And continuing to think that I am more invested and I'm doing more work and I care for him more and I love him more is no longer serving me. And it's super humbling to let that story go and to say, what if that's not true? What if it's true that he's actually the same, that we are on the same page, or that he's doing more? Okay. And recognizing that the reason that our brain wants to compare, we want to be on the same page because we don't want to open ourselves up to more vulnerability. That's why our brain always wants to gauge, do I care for him more than he cares for me? And we do this even came up today with a different client, in all kinds of ways. So let me give you an example. I had a client today who came on the call and she was like, I didn't really have any coaching, but she and I were the only ones on the call for the first 10 minutes. And she was like, okay, well, I was just going to listen in today, but here's something that's been on my mind. And we ended up coaching for 30 minutes, which is how it always works. We think we're fine. We think we don't need any coaching. And then turns out we all are human and we need help in our brains. Okay. I did this with my coach yesterday. So I had this client, she came on today and she said, I'm struggling with Mother's Day is next week, my anniversary is next week, and I'm having some subconscious expectations about it. And one of the things that came up with her and some of the other clients that were on the call that made comments was, oh my gosh, I recognize that I have some subconscious expectations of big days, whether that's an anniversary, a birthday, Christmas, what have you, because I realize I want him to do certain things so that I know he cares. But when he doesn't, I feel like he cares less about me than I do about him, right? So you see how my client, her brain had said, I want him to do certain things, and these certain actions that I want him to take is going to tell me that he cares an X amount. Okay, this is your brain trying to gather evidence to gauge how much he cares and how much he loves you. It's like whether or not he remembers your birthday, or whether or not he gives you flowers, or the right kind of flowers, or he sends you a text or an e-card or whatever it is. Your brain wants to gauge and gather evidence for how much he cares and loves about you, how important you are to his brain. And the problem with this is you're never going to be able to do this enough. Okay, so what I want to offer is that you can change what you believe about him and how he feels about you. And here's where it's hard. When you work on changing a belief, my belief that I love my husband more than he loves me, I have so much evidence for that, insane amounts. Okay, I've been believing it for a really long time. The problem with that is, as I've told you, it's no longer serving me. So when I want to pick up a new thought, a new belief, my brain says I have no business believing this because I have no evidence for it. Okay, whatever that thought is. Okay, I came up today on a call. One of my clients brought up that she feels like she doesn't deserve love. That's what we got to. It came up as I don't know. Sometimes I go to the gym and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I go tanning and sometimes I don't. And underneath all of this was this belief that she has that she doesn't deserve love. Okay. Now here's the problem is she's been believing I don't deserve love for a really long time and has a lot of evidence for it. When she wants to start changing that, then our brain is going to go, I don't have any evidence to believe this. If I want to believe that I do deserve love, I have no evidence to back this up. I have no business believing this. It's empty. It's hollow. That's what our brain thinks. It is scary as heck to hold space inside of you for a new belief, to hold on to it without any evidence. When you have no business believing it, it is so hard to sit there and hold space for that. It feels so frightening, so overwhelmingly scary, because we have this alternate belief that we've been believing for the last however many decades with so much evidence. And our brain says, we should just stick with that one. We should just stick with the one that says that I don't deserve love. We should just stick with the one that says my husband doesn't want to be with me as much as I want to be with him. We should just stick with the one that says I'm not worth this. That's what your brain wants. It wants to go back to what is familiar, what is comfortable, what is known, what it has all the evidence to prove. What is harder is to say, no, I used to believe that and I don't anymore. And what I'm working on believing is something I have no evidence for. And this is when you have your own back. This is when you sit with the fear and you say, yeah, this is scary to believe, but this is the new me, the new version of me that I'm trying to become. That's what I want to believe. This is me choosing my life on purpose rather than living off of these subconscious beliefs that are getting me to a place of misery, getting me to a place where I am waiting for my husband to change so that I can feel better. But then even when he starts changing, I still don't feel better. This is when I get off the emotional roller coaster, when I stop feeling and living a life where my circumstances create all of my results. This is when I start taking charge, and it is scary because what if it's not true? What if I decide to believe in something I have no business believing in, that I have no evidence for, and it turns out to be wrong? That's what our brain is really afraid of. Our brain is really afraid that we choose to let go of all of this evidence. We choose to believe something new, and what if we're wrong? That's what our brain thinks. But what if you were just willing to feel wrong? What if you were just willing to take a chance and to believe it? Because what if you're right? What if you've been wrong your whole life? What if you could be right about the next thing? What if it's true that you do deserve love, that you are worthy, that your husband does want to spend time with you, that your husband loves you just as much as you love him? What if your husband is just as invested in you as you are in him? What if the thing that you've been believing this entire time is wrong? And the new belief, the one that is scary, what if that's the one that's right? I want to encourage you ladies to look at where this is coming up for you in your life. Where are you taking a look at your life and saying, I don't think he cares for me as much as I care for him, or whatever it is. I think I'm too invested. I think I'm more invested. I think I'm more into him, whatever it is. Take a look at that and just start noticing why it is that your brain is doing that. And notice it for the lie that it is. And also notice that you have the opportunity to change it if you want to. It is your privilege to be able to choose your beliefs. It's just that most of us don't know how to do it. Most of us don't take the opportunity to do it because it's scary. And our natural brain, our primitive brain, is fighting us to go back to what it knows, go back to the comfort. But the comfort is where misery is. So do the hard thing, do the brave thing. You can do it. You're way more brave than you think you are. And when you do the brave thing, the scary thing, and you hold on to a new belief, that is when you get to change who you are and change your life. And that is what I want for you. I love you ladies so much. I hope you guys have a great week. I'll talk to you guys next week on a brand new episode. So take care. Hello, my lady. I wrote a book and I would love for you to read it. It's called The Not Enough Wife, and you can get it on Amazon today. This book is for any woman who has ever felt like she wasn't enough, not enough as a wife or as a mom, if she didn't have Instagram-worthy enough pictures, if she didn't throw Pinterest-worthy parties, if she ever felt like she was not enough, this is the book for her, and it's for you too. So go to Amazon today, go search up The Not Enough Wife by Jolene Wynn, and grab a copy for yourself and for all the women in your life. I hope you love it, and I can't wait to hear what you think.